Hello, welcome again to Ford Green Hall. It's been some time since I did a little tour around the place with having so much work done at the front. I thought I'd do the back. I'm not sure whether I've done this before. I probably have, but there you go. Well, I haven't done it in the snow. So there's three periods at the back, starting all the way up there, that tall building there, the wall, and this brick ring here, all extensions built in 1728. We think that the dovecote at the top there was built at the same time as this bit here. Moving back in time, we've got 1624 for the timber, and going forward in time again, 1734 for the brick ring there. We've got a little model, not of the hall, but of part of a timber framed house being built, just to show you the different ways of putting it together. We've got wooden pegs holding the house together, just like in the big one behind me, and numbers carved on each piece. Carpenter would follow the numbers. He'd bring all the pieces that were already cut elsewhere, and he'd bring them here and just follow the numbers, put them together. I'll show you some on the actual house. There we go. There's some original carpenter's marks. He's obviously using a gouge. Inside the house we've got some more marks. The guy's using a straight chisel, a bit more like Roman numerals as you see today. So we've got an X and 3 strokes, number 14. X and 1 stroke, 11. I'll take you up through the garden in the snow. It's not very often we see the garden in the snow these days. We've had some flurries of late, quite unusual. The herb beds, looking quite forlorn now, quite empty. These have died back. The medlar tree has had a good prune there. We've got the garden wall, shelter in the kitchen garden. We don't know what the garden would have looked like at Ford Green Hall. This was restored in around about the 1990s. It's just a representation of a garden of the period. Like I say, we don't know what it would have been like. We've got some box forming a shape, which you can see quite well with the snow on the top. I'll just nip up these steps. If you've noticed any of the patterns on the front of the hall, there we go. That's one of them. And there's another box hedge at the front that echoes the same pattern at the front of the house. Roses have been lopped off. Bit of honesty there. Fascinated by this stuff when I was a kid. Moving around to the front, you can see the hall, the main road, and there's the dovecote. Quite an expensive building to have. Prior to the 18th century, if you wanted a dovecote in the Middle Ages, you had to ask your lord's permission. By the 18th century, you just have to have the money. And it's situated close to the kitchen garden because all the muck that the doves produced can go on to the kitchen garden as fertiliser. Down in the bottom, they'd probably keep chickens at the bottom there. And the doves would fly in and out of the holes there. chicken muck, dove poo, human poo from the pigeons, all creates something called saltpeter, which is one of the main ingredients in gunpowder. So a lot of that would be collected by the saltpeter men to be mixed with charcoal, sulphur, and you get yourself some gunpowder, which is very tricky to produce. You've got to be careful or it's going to blow your head off. Gunpowder tended to be mixed in the 17th century on battlefields because it tended to separate quite quickly, the ingredients, and you don't get as big as an explosion. And there is one of the famous landmarks of the hall. It's a pine cone? Pineapple? It's more like a pine cone to me. Probably not originally from here, I'm not sure where it's from. It's nice wherever it's from. Heading down, snowdrops are coming out already. And there we've got the ongoing work going on at the front there. I believe they're fashioning the beam in the workshops at the moment. Just waiting for that. Through a nice gateway, nice arch, and here we've got a lot of people to thank for restoration when the hall was reopened in 1996. I know this was the period garden, 1996. Some of those companies probably aren't there anymore, not working anymore. And back round to the back of the hall. There were some archaeological digs undertaken in the 1990s. Under here apparently there's some medieval cobbles. I think they're medieval, but certainly older than the hall anyway. There are footings apparently for buildings, outdoor buildings, probably barns, and we think that the barns went round in a courtyard. Barns and stables, etc. to the farmyard. There's another barn apparently somewhere up the bank in Smallthorne that the Fords owned. One of the barns here is listed as having a bed, so somebody was sleeping over the barns as well as people living in the house. Lots of windows at the back of the hall, probably not so many, probably wouldn't have been as many when the house was first built, and they certainly probably weren't all as big as these here, more like this size at the back, that one up there and that one there. That one obviously is probably an original size of the window, but that one's obviously probably extended, made bigger when glass became cheaper in the 18th century, until the window tax came in. And a door there at the back of the brick wing. Okay, so that's the back of the hall. I'm going inside now where it's colder. Stay safe. See you next time.